Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. My name is Julian, and this is the waiver wire episode for week 19 of the fantasy hockey season. I'm here in the beautiful Roma Street Parklands in Australia, guys, and I'm so excited to be here in Australia. This is the country I've wanted to visit the most my entire life, and I've finally made it here. And Brisbane is just so far so beautiful. I just got here yesterday. I haven't seen a whole lot, but wow, guys. Hope you enjoyed that little panorama I gave you at the beginning. That's exactly where I'm sitting right now. It's just so beautiful here, and it's so hot too. It's just such a wonderful place to be, and I'm so grateful to be here in Brisbane, Australia. Last night I was lucky enough to go to the Ed Sheeran concert here too, so I've been having a lot of fun, guys, and I hope that you enjoy the video today. As usual, guys, before we get started, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And hit that notification bell if you want notifications every time a new video goes live, guys. It's definitely something that you're going to want to do because these videos are going to help you win every single week leading up to the playoffs. And the playoffs are approaching pretty soon, so make sure that you actually make the playoffs by following this channel and making sure that you get in. All right, let's jump into the schedule now. And as you can see, guys, as usual, the off nights are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Nothing too crazy here. You know, the off nights are a little bit busier than usual, but the busy nights are still quite busy. So in all likelihood, guys, if you pick up players, you're only going to be able to fit them in your lineup Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Definitely go and check your lineup to make sure, because maybe you can fit a guy in on other nights as well, but definitely worth checking that. Now, there are two teams that have a really favorable schedule this week with those off nights. Those teams are the Islanders and the Winnipeg Jets. Those teams play on all 4 off nights, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, so if you do want to pick up someone for this week, a very good option for you. And then there are 4 teams that just don't really have the best schedule this week, unfortunately, and those teams are Arizona, Colorado, Dallas, and Florida, because they only play 2 games this week. So picking up players from those teams isn't necessarily going to help you win this week specifically, although it could help you in the future. Jumping into forwards now that you can consider adding for this week, and first on the list, guys, I don't think you're surprised here. It is Brock Nelson, and Brock Nelson is the real deal, man. He's been so good all year round putting up points. He was recently on a little bit of a cold streak, but he's back to putting up points every single night, guys, so definitely he's someone that you're going to be wanting to add for your fantasy hockey team, especially for this week when the Islanders have 4 off nights. It's just so nice. And then Braden Shen, someone who's really hot right now, so he's been kind of cold kind of all year, so it's nice to see him finally picking it up, and he should hopefully be able to sustain that momentum for a little while. Then I do recommend adding him. And then Anders Lee is also a good add this week for those 4 off nights that the Islanders have. I know he's actually a little bit colder right now, but when the Islanders have such a favorable schedule, it's pretty hard to pass up on Anders Lee if he is available sitting on your wire, because you know the kind of ceiling that he has, and it's really, really high. Then I have Logan Couture of the San Jose Sharks, who's also putting up a lot of points lately, obviously getting top power play time in San Jose. Getting plenty of ice time, guys. Couture is someone who's doing very well right now, should be owned in way more than his current ownership percentage. And then next is my Manscaped must-add player of the video, Andre Palat. Breaking news, Manscaped is now selling beard products. That's right, they've gone from waist to face to help you replace that bulky razor with their brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. Manscaped helped you get that golden rod of a Greek god, and now they've created the best tools for you to turn heads with a clean, perfectly groomed, and conditioned beard. Finally tame your mane by going to manscaped.com and using my code FANTASYTIP for 20% off plus free shipping. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code word FANTASYTIP at manscaped.com. Now, why is Andre Palat my Manscaped must-add player of the video, guys? Well, he's on an absolute tear right now. Ever since he came back from his injury, he's been putting up points left and right. He's playing on a line right now with Nico Hischier, which is obviously a great deployment to be in if you're Andre Palat. And we know how good Andre Palat can be. We've seen him in the past, and he's just doing it right now, and he's doing everything right. And it's pretty hard to pass up on him if he is still available in your league. He's getting top power play time right now, and I think even when Jack Hughes comes back from his injury, he's still going to be getting top power play time. And I think he's a very good add until he slows down, which may not be the entire year. Then I have Nick Schmaltz of the Arizona Coyotes, 36% rostered, and Nick Schmaltz is someone who's also playing really well right now. That line with Keller and Barrett Hayton is super hot right now, and it's really nice to see a line in the Arizona Coyotes really doing well. So anybody on that line is really someone that I do like this week, despite the Arizona Coyotes only having 2 games this week. So it's not necessarily the best pickup for this week specifically, but definitely could help you down the line. And then I have Boone Jenner of the Columbus Blue Jackets, and I haven't repped this guy in a while, but I think you guys all know, if you've been watching this channel a while, that I love Boone Jenner. He's a great hockey player, and he kind of does it all. He's like a fantasy juggernaut. So especially if you're in a Cats league, he wins a lot of faceoffs, he'll hit a lot, he'll shoot the puck a lot, and he puts up points pretty damn frequently as well. So he's someone that I definitely like in terms of fantasy hockey. Then I have Alexis Lafreniere of the New York Rangers, and he's still doing pretty well on that line with Kakko and Hedl. So as long as he's still putting up points, guys, Alexis Lafreniere is actually someone that I don't mind having on my team right now, as long as he stays consistent. As soon as he starts slowing down a bit and has 3-4 games with nothing, he's an easy drop. Then I have Pavel Zacha of the Boston Bruins, and Pavel Zacha is, well, a very good player. He's playing on a solid line on that check line with Pastrnak and with David Krejci. It's a great deployment, guys. And the nice thing about Zacha is he's got triple eligibility: center, left wing, right wing. So you can put him anywhere in your lineup, which is really good. And he's putting up points right now. He's doing pretty well. So if you're in a deeper league and need someone that's a little bit more flexible with eligibility and is pretty consistent with the points, Zacha is actually a really good option. And then I have Dylan Dubé. He's playing on the top line with Toffoli and with Elise Lindholm, which is obviously great deployment. And he's been putting up points left and right, guys. Obviously, there was a point in the season earlier that he was also putting up points pretty frequently. Then he cooled down, and he was a drop. It's the same kind of thing here, guys. While he's hot, he's definitely someone that you want to add. As soon as he cools down, you're going to want to drop him again. Next, I have Anthony Cirelli, who's been sneakily putting up quite a bit of points lately. He's been very hot. As long as he stays hot, guys, it's an excellent ad. And the nice thing is that he's not just locked in to a center role this year. He's also got that left wing eligibility, which is quite helpful. And then Blake Coleman has been obviously very good this year, and he is only playing on the third line with Manjapane and Backlund, but that's a pretty solid third line, and he has been producing quite a bit lately. Just a little note here is that he's gone a couple games in a row now without really doing anything. So if that trend continues, then he's going to be a drop for me. But I think he can still continue that hot pace, so that's why I do have him listed here. But just keep that in mind. If he goes a couple more games like that, then probably someone that I'd rather drop than keep on my team. Then I have Cole Perfetti of the Winnipeg Jets, and I only have him listed here because of the favorable schedule that Winnipeg has this week. They play on all 4 off nights. Obviously, Perfetti hasn't been the hottest player right now in the NHL, but he is still getting top 6 times in Winnipeg, and that's probably enough if you're in a deeper league and you just need someone to slot into your lineup, because he definitely could heat up and put up quite a few points if you're lucky. Then Raphael Harvey-Pinard of the Montreal Canadiens is getting top power play and top line time in Montreal and has been doing a lot with it. So he's definitely someone who I don't think is going to keep this up the rest of the year, but he's definitely someone that I'm liking right now because he just is performing, and it's really nice to see. And then finally, on this slide, I have Kyle Palmieri, 11% rostered, and he's playing on the Islanders as well, who have that nice schedule. Obviously hasn't been the hottest as of late, but he's one of the players I trust the most to put up points on the Islanders, getting top 6 deployment, and I think he'll put up probably a couple points in those 4 games if you're going to stream him for those 4 off-night games. Then I have Matt Martin of the New York Islanders. He's another guy who I would pick up just for this week if you have hits in your league. So if you're in a Cats league and you just want to make sure that you get a whole bunch of hits this week and you can actually fit them in your lineup, Matt Martin's such an excellent option because obviously he plays the off nights. Or if you're in a points-based league where you just get a nice safe floor with hits, Martin's also a really nice option. Sorry, there's like a little iguana getting closer and closer to me, which is, he's really cute. I know he's not going to hurt me, but yeah, so Martin is a pretty good option if you need hits as a floor. He's actually been putting up some points lately too, but I'm not sure how sustainable that is. Then I have Barrett Hayton of the Arizona Coyotes, and obviously Arizona is not the best team to be streaming players from this week specifically because of only 2 games, but Hayton's playing really well in that line with Schmaltz and Keller, as well as that top power play with Schmaltz and Keller. So I definitely don't mind the ad there as well if you all do want to strengthen your team for the future, especially if you're in a super deep league. Then I have Robbie Fabry of the Detroit Red Wings, and Fabry has been on a tear lately, playing top 6 minutes in Detroit. Came back recently from injury, took a few games to get going, but now seems to be really playing well. So as long as he is, guys, he's an excellent ad in deeper leagues. And Quinton Byfield's another guy that you want to be looking at right now. He's getting top line deployment with Anze Kopitar on the left wing, so he should gain that left wing eligibility pretty soon. And he's actually been putting up points pretty frequently. So if you're in a deeper league, Byfield's honestly a really good ad. And then finally I have Josh Bailey of the Islanders, 1% rostered, playing on the top line in New York. So obviously he's not the best player in the world, but the deployment is there. Definitely could put up a couple points in those 4 off-night games this week that the Islanders have. Then I have Neil Pionk of the Winnipeg Jets, 48% rostered, and I have him here because of that off-night schedule that Winnipeg has. Pionk should always give you a pretty safe floor with hits, with blocks, a couple shots, and potentially put up a point every couple games or so. He's not the best player in the world, but for a week that Winnipeg has a pretty favorable off-night schedule, he's definitely not a bad option. Other than have Samuel Girard of the Colorado Avalanche, and he's still playing really well. It's nice to see him actually finally putting up points, because the rest of the season he was pretty useless. But as soon as he starts slowing down, going 3, 4, 5 games without really doing much, is when I drop him, because the peripherals aren't super great with Samuel Girard. So he's got to be putting up points for him to be worth anything at all. Then I have Juuso Valimaki of the Arizona Coyotes playing on that top power play now in Arizona, because Chychrun is going to be traded, hopefully, finally. And last year he was probably going to be traded at the deadline as well, but he got injured. So this year they are not risking anything, and they're just not going to play Chychrun until he gets traded. So that means that Juuso Valimaki is the guy on that top power play right now in Arizona, because Gostisbehere is injured. What does that mean? He's got a little bit of fantasy value, and he actually had a 4-point night the other night, which is pretty solid, and I think that he's definitely someone worth monitoring and worth adding if you're in a deeper league. Mike Matheson's another guy getting top power play time in Montreal, and he's not doing too bad either, so I don't mind that ad. And then Adam Boqvist of the Columbus Blue Jackets is super under the radar right now. He's putting up a point pretty much every single night in Columbus, getting that top power play time in Columbus. And if you're in a deeper league and you need a defenseman that's putting up points, Adam Boqvist is an excellent option right now. He's starting to heat up. Yeah, the peripherals aren't amazing with him, but as long as he's putting up points, who cares about the peripherals? Adam Boqvist is someone that I do really like right now. Okay, so let's jump into goalies right now. And let's start with Phoenix Copley of the Los Angeles Kings. And he has bounced back, just like I told you guys he would. Told you not to panic. He's the starter in LA, and he's playing some pretty good hockey once again. Definitely a good option if he's still available in your league. Aiden Hill's another amazing option, because Logan Thompson is going to be out for a little while, so he's going to be getting all the starts as long as Thompson is out. So definitely someone that I don't mind grabbing if you're in need of a goalie, because he's on a pretty good team. Should get a lot of starts, should get a lot of wins, should get some decent numbers as well. Philip Gustafson's the guy who's starting half the games in Minnesota right now, and Minnesota has been doing pretty well. So Gustafson is definitely someone that I recommend in both categories league and points-based league, as long as you're okay with him only getting half the starts. Then Casey DeSmith, obviously, has been getting all the starts in Pittsburgh, and he has been very good as of late. He started off pretty rocky, but has been playing a lot better, and Jari still isn't back. So as long as he's out, you're definitely going to want to be streaming Casey DeSmith. Then they got Jake Allen, Montreal Canadiens, and he has been playing very, very well as of late. Got a shutout last game, had a really good game before that as well. So he's someone that is looking like he's starting to finally turn that season around. And if you want to add a goalie who's playing really well right now on a little bit of a hot streak, Jake Allen is definitely the kind of guy that you're going to want to be adding right now. Then I have Philip Grubauer of the Seattle Kraken, and Philip Grubauer playing a lot better right now. He started 3 games in a row. Looks like he's starting to take that starting job away from Martin Jones once again, and I think he's a better goalie than Martin Jones. So Philip Grubauer, if you're in need of a goalie, you're in a deeper league, I think that he is actually a pretty decent ad right now if you want to get some starts. Then Mads Søgaard of the Ottawa Senators, 11% rostered, and Forsberg and Talbot are both injured right now. So by default, Søgaard is the starter in Ottawa. That's pretty good for you guys that need a starting goalie. Go out and grab Matt Søgaard, and he's going to be starting basically every start for the Ottawa Senators going forward, as long as he doesn't play too bad, because then he could end up going to the other goalie. But Søgaard is the guy right now, and it's definitely someone that I wouldn't mind adding if you're in desperate need for a goalie. And then Kaapo Kähkönen of the San Jose Sharks is another guy that you could be looking at right now for starting goalies, because he's been starting the vast majority of the starts lately in San Jose. And as long as he is, guys, he's the starter there. And if you're in a deep points-based league, he may be your best option here to put up points every single night, because he's the guy, starting the games, and he's actually playing pretty well. Peter Mrazek, 4% rostered for the Chicago Blackhawks, is another starting goalie. If you're in a points-based league only, I would add him. In a Cats league, I would not. But points-based league, he may get you a safe enough floor every single night to really merit having on your team. I actually have him on my points-based league team. It's a pretty deep league, guys. There's not a whole lot of goalies available. So if you're in that kind of league, Mrazek is actually not that bad of an option, because he is getting the vast majority of the starts in Chicago. Then Colin Delia is the guy getting the starts right now in Vancouver. I know he has not been playing well, but Spencer Martin, his competition in nets, was sent down to the AHL, and the guy they called up has not been doing much better than Colin Delia. So Delia should get the bulk of the starts, and he's the guy who I would go after if you're really in desperate need for a goalie. In terms of drops, guys, Martin Jones, to me, is starting to look like a drop. Grubauer has been starting the majority of the games here. And yeah, probably Grubauer's going to choke at some point. Martin Jones is going to get some more starts. So if you're in a super deep league, obviously hold on to Jones and just hope that happens soon. But if you're in a shallower league and there's plenty of goalies available, Martin Jones is an easy drop for me. And Stuart Skinner is another guy who, it's the same kind of thing. If you're in a shallower league and there's plenty of goalies available, Stuart Skinner is also a drop right now because Campbell is getting the vast majority of the starts for Edmonton. But Campbell also at any point could choke and Skinner will start getting the starts once again. So you can wait for that to happen if you are in a deeper league. But if you're in a shallower league, drop him, grab someone else who's actually getting more starts. Phil Heedle's another guy who I'm not dropping right at this moment, but if he continues to really not do that much, it's been a couple games now where he's kind of cooled down. He's someone that I'm going to probably drop 3-4 more games down the line if he's not producing, because Philip Heedle has been excellent as of late, but I don't think that's particularly sustainable. So as soon as he slows down, guys, I'm going to drop him. Then Max Domi, 24% rostered, is ice cold right now. He's the kind of player who is very streaky, so he'll go on hot streaks and cold streaks, and when he's on a hot streak you definitely want to be streaming him, but when he's cold, guys, he's pretty useless for your fantasy team, and right now he's ice cold, so he's a drop for me right now. And then Evan Rodriguez is still a drop for me. He's really not doing a whole lot. He's not getting top power play time in Colorado anymore, and therefore he's a drop. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. If you enjoyed the content today, please leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and if you do want to check out my merch store, you can do so at fantasytip.com. And remember, I do have a Patreon. You can check that out in the description below. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tip.